when it comes to our spiritual growth. It means understanding the proportion of intellect to emotion. This is fundamentally what we need to understand. How emotional are we? How intellectual are we? And that ratio starts to determine the proportion of the spiritual disciplines that we need to apply.
Should we consciously, if you're in a pattern of studying in the morning for an hour, I'm going to spend roughly a third of it trying to focus on more devotional things and 2/3 on intellect?
I mean, you can do that. Think of it more in terms of how much you need in general. So you might recognize that when it comes to my spiritual disciplines, I'm 3/4 intellectual and 25% devotional. That's basically where I sit. That's what you come up as. It doesn't mean that you take your morning study session and devote 25% of it to devotion. All it's saying is that of the proportion of your spiritual practices in general, 3/4 of it will be intellectually based and about 1/4 of it will be devotionally based. So you might say that, okay, my intellectual side is taken care of in the mornings. So you might get up in the morning, sit down in front of your book, and all you do is study. You don't necessarily have to force yourself, okay, I've got to put some devotion in here because I've got devotion in my personality. That you might do at a different time of the day. If you look at the academy schedule, for example, the devotional aspect of the schedule is, there's two aspects to it. One, it's kind of peppered throughout the day, so that's there, but also the community singing. It's at a specific time of the day. So that's when you have an opportunity to let go and be moved by the music and be moved by the community feeling and allow that all to happen. So that's where it gets taken care of. But having said that, that doesn't mean that you can't. If it's natural for you to sit down and to want to include a devotional practice or a devotional aspect to your morning study, by all means. There's no reason not to. And it can be beneficial. If you just sit down before you start your study, as he covers in the earlier part of this book, when he's talking about devotion, he spends a long time discussing gratitude. So gratitude is an aspect of devotion. It's a way of eliciting devotion. So you might sit down before you start studying and have that sense of gratitude that you have this opportunity to just, in a nice quiet room, in a beautiful house, in a peaceful city, in a free country, I have this opportunity to, this luxury, to sit down and just read my book and answer questions and ask questions and so on and so forth. It's also an obligation, but it's also a luxury. So if that is there, if that's natural for you, yes, by all means, include it. But there's no strict rules as to you have to put it here or you have to put it there.